गुड मॉर्निंग फिफ्थ क्लास, हाउ आर यू बेटा? आई एम फाइन। बेटा मैथ्स में मैंने आपको चैप्टर 14 आपका शेप्स के बारे में था, तो आज उस चैप्टर को मैं आपको डीजी में करवाऊंगी। आपका है शेप्स एंड पैटर्न का। इसके नगर्स में आपको टर्निंग शेप्स है, ट्रायंगल्स के बारे में, टाइप्स ऑफ ट्रायंगल, प्रॉपर्टीज ऑफ ट्रायंगल, कंसेप्ट ऑफ क्वाड्रेटर के बारे में बताएंगे। ओके स्टूडेंट्स, तो हम चैप्टर को डीजी में शुरू करते हैं। सब बच्चे ध्यान से देखेंगे। जब आप डीजी में आएंगे आप देख सकते हैं इसको। टर्निंग शेप्स के बारे में देखेंगे अब आप इसको।
Sella is searching for her favorite storybook. Looks like her mother has kept the storybook in one of the drawers. But the drawers are locked. Sella doesn't know how to open them. Look, Sella, each lock has something written below it. They seem to be clues. Let's try and unlock the drawers using the clues. Let's look at the first drawer. The instruction says, give a quarter turn. What is a quarter turn? To understand a quarter turn, let's look at this circle. It has two diameters, one vertical and one horizontal. These diameters divide the circle into 4 equal parts or 4 quarters. Now, look at the dot positioned at the top of the vertical diameter. When we turn the circle and move the dot from the top of the vertical diameter to the right end of the horizontal diameter, we cover 1/4 of the circle. So, the turn is called a quarter turn. Now, let's see what happens when we give this lock a quarter turn. On giving the lock a quarter turn, the brown colored part, which was along the vertical position, now moves to the horizontal position. Look, Sella, you can open the drawer now. Her favorite storybook is not there. Don't worry, Sella. We will check in the other drawers. But before that, let's practice quarter turns. Click the shape that would look the same after a quarter turn.
ओके स्टूडेंट्स, आपने पढ़ लिया। इसके बाद आपकी क्या है, ये एक्टिविटी क्वार्टर टर्न, जो कि आपको बनानी है। ओके स्टूडेंट्स, ये आपकी मैथ्स की एक्टिविटी भी है। ओके स्टूडेंट्स, लेट्स स्टार्ट। ओके स्टूडेंट्स, नेक्स्ट इज कहते क्लिक द शेप दैट वुड लुक द सेम आफ्टर ए क्वार्टर टर्न। कौन सी शेप आपको सेम नजर आएगी जब उसको मोड़ते हैं? नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज, बताइए। नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज, एंड नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज, ओके स्टूडेंट्स, तो ये थी आपकी एक्टिविटी और जो आपने इस चैप्टर में सीखी है, देखी है, पढ़ी है। ओके स्टूडेंट्स, तो नेक्स्ट देखिए क्या है हमारा। क्लिक कंटिन्यू ए प्रोसीड। कंटिन्यू करके देखते हैं इसको हम। अबे हाफ टर्न किसके बारे में बात करेंगे?
Let's now look at the second drawer. The instruction says, give a half turn. What does half turn mean? To understand a half turn, let's look at this circle. It is divided into two parts by a vertical diameter. Now, look at the dot positioned at the top of the vertical diameter. When we turn the circle to move the dot from one end of the vertical diameter to the other end, we cover half the circle. So, the turn is called a half turn. Let's give this lock a half turn. Observe that the dot on top of the yellow portion moves from its original position to the exactly opposite position. Sela opens the drawer but still does not find her storybook. Let's open the remaining two drawers one by one. But before that, let's first practice half turns.
Giving a half turn, beta.
Click the shape that would look the same after a half turn.
देखते हैं ये एक्टिविटी. तो क्या है हमारा आंसर? ठीक है, हमारा आंसर ठीक है. तो नेक्स्ट इज नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज बताइए. फर्स्ट इज आवर राइट आंसर. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज बताइए कौन सी शेप मोड़ने पर हाफ करने पर सेम आएगी. ठीक है, हमारा ये आंसर. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज ओके स्टूडेंट्स, क्लियर हुआ आपको कि जब हम हाफ मोड़ते हैं तो उसके बाद क्या आएगा. वन थर्ड टर्न कि उसको वन थर्ड.
Let's now try to unlock the third drawer. The instruction says, give a 1/3 turn. What does 1/3 turn mean? For understanding a 1/3 turn, look at this circle. It is divided into three parts by three straight lines from the center. Now, look at the dot positioned at the top of the vertical line. When we turn the circle to move the dot from the top of the vertical line to the end of the second line, we cover 1/3 of the circle. So, the turn is called a 1/3 turn. Let's give this lock a 1/3 turn. Giving the lock 1/3 turn moves the green portion from the vertical position to the first diagonal position. The book is not there even in this drawer. We will now check the last and final drawer, but before that, let's practice 1/3 turns. Click the shape that would look the same after a 1/3 turn.
Okay student, next is let's continue. One-sixth turn.
Okay, Sela, let's check this last and final draw. Hope we find your book here. The instruction says give a 1/6 turn. For understanding 1/6 turn, let's look at this circle. It has been divided into 6 parts using 3 diameters, 1 vertical and 2 diagonal. Now, look at the dot positioned at the top of the vertical diameter. When we turn the circle to move the dot from the top of the vertical diameter to the top of the diagonal diameter on the right, we cover 1/6 of the circle. So, the turn is called a 1/6 turn. Let's give the lock a 1/6 turn. On giving a 1/6 turn, the green portion moves in such a way that it replaces the red portion. Hey Sella, open the drawer and check. Sella found her favorite storybook. Let her enjoy reading the book while we have some more fun with turning the shapes. Click the shape that would look the same after a 1/3 turn.
Next is next is next is and next is ओके स्टूडेंट्स, तो ये था हमारा शेप से रिलेटेड आपको 1/3, 1/6, हाफ, चूज ए टर्न.
Select the type of turn required to position the green dot on the blue dot.
क्वार्टर टर्न, किसकी जरूरत है हमें? क्वार्टर टर्न. नेक्स्ट इज, इसमें किसकी शेप की जरूरत है? हाफ टर्न. नेक्स्ट इज 1/6 टर्न. नेक्स्ट इज 1/3 होगा. ओके स्टूडेंट, क्वार्टर टर्न. तो ये थी हमारी एक्टिविटी. ओके स्टूडेंट्स, ये था हमारा शेप्स के बारे में. आप घर पर बैठकर भी इन शेप्स को रिवाइज कर सकते हैं. ओके स्टूडेंट्स, अब हम एंगल्स के बारे में पढ़ेंगे जो कि आपके चैप्टर में भी हैं, जैसे राइट एंगल 90 डिग्री का, स्ट्रेट एंगल 180 डिग्री का, पॉइंट, लाइन और लाइन सेगमेंट और रे के बारे में हम इसमें रिवाइज करेंगे. ओके स्टूडेंट्स, चेक करेंगे आप.
Sella is busy with her geometry book and she wants to know what angles are. Sella is wondering why the book talks about point, line, line segment and ray. Don't worry, Sella. You need to know these geometrical terms before you can understand angles. Let's see what these terms mean. Take a sheet of paper. Press your finger down on it at some point. Remove your hand. Can you tell where exactly your finger had touched the paper?
Let's continue.
It is difficult, isn't it? Now take a sharp pencil and press its pointed tip down on the paper. Then move the pencil away. Can you tell where exactly the pencil had touched the paper?
Okay students, so let's continue.
This is easy. The pencil left a mark on the paper. This tells you the exact location where the pencil touched the paper. This mark is called a point in geometry. A point shows an exact location. A point is so tiny that it has no length or breadth. We represent a point with a dot and a capital letter. The point marked on this paper is now called point P. Now, let's mark lots of points on a straight path in both directions from point P. This collection of points now looks like a straight line. There is no end to how many points we can mark at each end of a line. So, a line can be extended in both directions endlessly. In geometry, A line is defined as a collection of points that can be extended endlessly in both directions. Since we cannot draw a line of endless length, a line is shown by putting arrows at both its ends. Since a line is a collection of points, we can find more than one point on a line. P and Q are two such points on this line. A line can be represented by a double-headed arrow over 2 points as shown. Because a line has no endpoints, it has no fixed length, so we cannot measure it. Because a line has no endpoints, it has no fixed length. This part of the line is called a line segment, and P and Q are endpoints of the line segment. So, the part of a line that has two endpoints is called a line segment. It is represented by its endpoints with the symbol of the line segment placed above them. Since the distance from point P to point Q is fixed, we can also measure the length of a line segment. Now, consider the part of the line that starts from point P, passes through point Q, and continues endlessly beyond point Q. This part of the line has only one endpoint at P. The part of a line that has one endpoint and extends endlessly in one direction is called a ray. It is represented by a single-headed arrow over 2 points as shown. Since a ray extends endlessly in one direction, we cannot measure its length. Now that we know about a point, line, line segment and ray, let's see whether we can identify them. Click the names of the geometric figures and put them in the correct places.
कहते हैं click the name of the geometric figure and put them in the correct places. पहला है point. Point कहाँ पर रहेगा आपका? सेकेंड है हमारा लाइन. थर्ड है हमारा पॉइंट. हैज नो लेंथ. पॉइंट का था बेटा. थर्ड इज आवर तो ये था हमारा चैप्टर शेप्स एंड पैटर्न, पॉइंट, रे, लाइन, लाइन सेगमेंट. ओके स्टूडेंट्स, तो ये 13 चैप्टर से रिलेटेड है. 14 चैप्टर भी आपका शेप से रिलेटेड है. अब हम उसके आगे पढ़ेंगे. ओके स्टूडेंट्स, हैव ए नाइस डे.